decided to leave the island of Staten, travel the world, and rediscover my groove. It's gonna be a real eat, pray, love kind of journey for me.
What do you mean? You're gonna pray?
Well, how am I gonna eat if I don't prey on people, dummy?
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world.
You're listening to League Podcast, the Vampire Council, What We Do in the Shadows, Season 3, Episode 10 review. I'm Matt Dursin.
Clay Inferno.
Sam, we got our special guest, Sam. You're not even special guest. You're a regular member, but you haven't been here. Welcome back, Sam.
No, it's been crazy 2 months. I mean, because the season started in September, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just been absolutely crazy, and I just wish that I had been around for this. But yeah, I'm happy to be here for the finale.
Well, yeah, we're happy to have you, and it's and what a finale it was. But before we get to that, what did you think of this season, and how's it all shaking out for you?
I felt like it had really high highs, and then everything else kind of was like, okay. I really do think that it's I think it suffered from not having Jemaine, Clement behind there.
Yes. Something we haven't even really talked about that much, but yeah, I think our take mostly was like, we liked the Laszlo, Colin Robinson sort of buddy cop thing they had going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then they explained
I think,
why.
Yeah, and I actually love that it was, essentially a weird little, Easter egg at the beginning of the season of him tearing out that page.
I know.
And,
I was trying to figure out if they had planned that or not, or if they just were like conveniently were like it was like a back.
Like a retcon, like they're like, hey, remember when you ripped out that page and you said it was a porn?
It could be
thing?
either way.
Like it was like a masturbation.
I'll wank my way, you wank yours. That's what it says.
Yeah. Right. Like, what are you doing? Ripping that page? Yeah. He's like, oh yeah. So I wouldn't. Either way, I wouldn't be surprised. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was totally. I mean, I'm sure they had the whole season written out. I don't know every joke, but yeah.
I thought, they handled what I was most worried about for this season. I felt like they handled really well, which was, obviously the finale of last season with Guillermo having killed all the vampires.
Right.
And being this vampire killer. And I thought that they handled it in such a fantastic way, and that they made him a bodyguard instead, but they were still they still treated him like, a familiar.
Like a familiar, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to think back. At the beginning of the season, he's in the cage. Of course, he can get out. Like,
well, I love that he gets out and he goes and cleans. And he still does his duties and stuff. And I think it's such a funny, but also kind of a wonderful little piece of it. And I thought about it and I'm just like, well, it just kind of shows you that Guillermo really loves them. He really cares for Nandor. They have a, he cares very deeply for him. And it's so that he will kind of oh yeah, okay.
yeah. And he does take care of them. He does all without them, he's, as he says, they would just they wouldn't be able to do anything without him. So it is very, even though they kind of, and I don't know, and we've seen a few bits this season, and even in this episode, where they're okay with him too, even though they call him Gizmo and whatever. But yeah, this episode I think had, and this season, but definitely this episode had the most sort of character. I don't know, not necessarily development, but I guess just like, you know, like they really
Everybody
showed
got
some...
a good spotlight, like all through the season. Everybody got their own episodes, you know, basically, you know what I mean? There was a lot of Andor figuring out life and his whole arc through this season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, everybody in the season got an episode, basically. Like, everybody got, like, really a highlighted episode. I mean, I think Nadja probably got the least, like, herself. But, I mean, like, the doll got an episode.
Right.
You know, Guillermo had, like, the first couple episodes, and then Nandor got a bunch, and Laszlo and Colin had a bunch together. And, you know, there was some fantastic moments that had me cackling this season, for sure.
And they like when they all went to the casino, that was like them all together. That was like just great ensemble because they were mostly with each other, even when they're in the hotel room. And Colin Robinson's just like, this is my favorite show, and it's just like the commercial for the casino.
Yeah, the hotel like commercial. Yeah. But like, I think that was kind of a Laszlo episode because he was the one who wanted this, you know, like the human buddy, you know, who like lost all his money and everything, and they they hatch that whole scheme so you can get it back, and it's just like, that's like it's crazy. Laszlo has really shown like real emotion like this season.
Well, I kind of thought about it, and I think part of it was Nadja has been busy with the Vampire Council. So he doesn't have anything to do. Yeah. So he's making all these friends because he's looking to fill that kind of weird kind of void in his life. You know, the neighbor, you know, he had already expressed that they were friends in the oh God, what was the name of the episode?
The Brain Scrambly episode?
Brain Scramblies.
But they also did the My Pillow episode this season.
Oh, that's well, that's good too. Yeah. So,
I mean, I think by far my favorite episode was the doll feeling neglected.
Yeah.
You know, mostly because we got the return of the Baron.
Oh, yeah.
And then we also have, you know, the introduction of the oldest vampire, the eldest vampire.
It's the sire.
Yeah. And I loved the character design of the sire. I think he is fantastically monstrous and adorable. And then of
right
course,
up your alley.
Oh, he's 100%. I mean, he's this fantastic gargoyle creature.
Yeah.
But and then the you know, and then the essentially what you could call what I would hope would be a backdoor pilot for their own show of them.
Yeah, right.
You know,
they're running their little like
Airbnb scam.
Airbnb. That would be funny.
And the dog is actually a hellhound, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Right, we're like, oh, he's just a dog.
Just a dog, especially when they first introduce him and Guillermo's just petting him and giving him belly rubs, and they're like, "No, you don't know what that thing can do to you."
Yeah.
All right, so let's. We have to. We got to talk about the finale.
Colin Robinson.
R.I.P. Colin Robinson. Yeah. Yes. We didn't know. We were speculating what they were gonna do, and all this. Clay and I were anyway last week, but here we go. Like we start off. Well, we have The Portrait is the name of the episode. I love that they brought back Donald Logue to paint the portrait of them. So they want a portrait. Sorry, yes.
Lost my shit when they introduced him in the last episode, because it's like it's such a I mean, just like Blade, the first Blade movie was such like an important piece of like my youth. I loved that movie so much, and it's the fact that there is this like amazing blurred line of cinematic vampires and reality in this universe.
Yeah, right.
Where she knows, you know, Deacon Frost, and then he's like, oh no, that's just a role I played, and
right.
But then, and then you also have the original Vampire Council that consisted of Wesley Snipes.
Right. It's very weird. Yeah, like it's interesting. But yeah, apparently he enjoyed being in Blade so much, so he decided to just become a vampire, which is so random. And then apparently, I love in this one, like this is such like typical actor stuff. He's like, yeah, I got some time between this and my next 2-episode arc on SVU.
Yeah, and he goes on this. He talks about how he learned to paint because there's so much time in between takes.
Yeah,
so we got a
I was
book.
on Grounded for Life, or whatever. Like learn to paint. It's just I love they're always dropping things, like name dropping, basically like things that they did or whatever. But I love it. He's their artist. So apparently they want to paint a portrait that doesn't have Colin Robinson in it, so that they can.
That's how vampires move on.
Yeah. Sad. And I don't know if you guys noticed the credits, right? The opening credits.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I didn't notice until the second time I watched it. But
all the pictures are either scratched out or just blank,
like
or there's
a note over
post-it note over Colin Robinson's face.
And the ones that would just be him, like the one he's wearing like a fez or something, like that's just like they're torn out of the picture frame.
Yeah, they're just gone. Yeah, the frames are just empty. So it's I guess when you live forever, when you're immortal, you just learn to move on from when someone dies. But it's not like they never expressed a lot of liking for him anyway. So I mean, weird.
But they don't like. I mean, they kind of have some affection for each other, but they kind of can't stand each other, like family style.
Yeah, exactly, family style. Yeah. So I love it. It's like them. The Baron is there, the Sire is there, Guillermo is there, and Kristen Shaw is in the portrait too, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's a great excuse to have her in it. And the funny thing is, they told them last episode that Nandor was dead, that Nadja had killed him, right?
Yeah.
Now he's just back. Oh, well. No biggie.
They must have had to explain it to Donald Logue when they had to get the portrait. Maybe the other vampires had already left after the fucking suck party.
Right. Anyway, so they take a little break. They're all sort of sniping at each other, and poor Guillermo is like, "What? I think they're having trouble. I think we need to talk about this so we can process Colin Robinson's death." And they're all just like, I love that. But during the little break, Nadja gets like a VHS tape, and it's Taika. I think is he in like every season finale?
I don't think.
Well, no. Season
Jemaine
2 finale was Jemaine.
Oh, you're right. Right.
I was disappointed that he wasn't in the last season. I remember saying.
Yeah,
but
I guess
you're
right.
Jemaine, so. Yeah,
and one of them is on it. But so he has his VHS tape, and he tells him not to tape over RuPaul, whatever on the tape. And then he's telling Nadja that she did such a great job. They want her on the worldwide Vampiric Council, and
in London.
In London, yeah, she'd have to go to London.
Can we talk about the little Easter egg of Matt Berry playing the theme song to Toast of London?
I didn't
notice
that, but I saw it. Somebody posted in one of the dumb groups that we're part of for this dumb thing.
Yeah, when they kind of the camera goes into the room where he's playing the piano, he's playing, which I also find funny just because there's so much animosity towards London.
Towards London, I will.
He's
like a little child who's saying, "Ever, ever, ever, ever go back." No, it is not a cool place to live. I like even how Guillermo framed it to him. He's like, "Would you say London is a cool place to live?" No.
Yeah.
It's not a cool
Not a
place.
cool place. It is, but I mean, we learn later on, like, why he doesn't hate it because, like, reasons you would expect Laszlo to hate it. Like, he says, oh, they threw me out of the Sherwood Society. But we find out later, and I guess I'll just say that it's because they didn't like Nadia, and so he left, like, really, or whatever. Like, it wasn't because he was whacking off too much or something like that.
Right.
So it's one of those moments. Yeah. But yeah, so she's like, oh, well, we can go to London. Hey, you want to go to London? He's like, nope. So there's that. That's like that's their storyline. And meanwhile, Nandor also has like sort of a moment of where he wants to leave, like, and he says, Colin Robinson's head imploding into a pile of goo has made me realize I need to make the most of my life.
And they do like a nice little flashback sequence of like all of the big Nandor moments from the season where he's sitting on the casino roof and all of his ladies he dated and everything.
The lesbian gym, worker
Meg.
there.
Meg.
Yeah. Are you sure? I'm a lesbian. Are you sure? Yes. So he's going to go on this Eat, Pray, Love tour. But the pray is like pray, like not pray to God.
Prey on
pray
victims.
like yeah.
P-R-E-Y.
Yeah, pray on you. Because Guillermo was like, how are you gonna eat? He's like, that's what the pray part is. So yeah, and then the Big Bang Theory, not the show, has also made him feel like, yeah, he needs to do something. So he's going to go back to his ancestral home, and then, but also just kind of go around go around the world.
Go around the world, why not? Dracula did it, didn't he? Wasn't he like always getting shipped around and stuff?
I don't know. Sure. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the entire story of Dracula is him essentially purchasing a property and then traveling to London.
How about that?
In a boat.
Which we know sucks.
In a boat. Ba-dum-cha.
Yeah. So Guillermo is kind of like, he's seeing all the whole thing sort of fall apart. Like, everybody wants to leave, and Nandor again. I love it gets physical.
Guillermo's really grasping at straws. Well, by the time it gets physical, with Nandor, it's like serious. But he's like, can't we just? Everybody's just acting too rash because they're upset about Colin Robinson, which they actually aren't. But he keeps thinking they are. But everybody's leaving and blah blah blah.
Yeah, he's kind of like a weird, like, slapsticky kind of thing almost, because he goes back, like, he's like, oh well, Laszlo won't leave, like he won't go to London, so like that'll keep them, and like so he tries to tell Nandor.
That is totally slapstick.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, not slapstick. What do they call that? I'm forgetting my film history, but like
old timey whatever.
Yeah.
Vaudevillian.
It's kind of like, but just like, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's weird, but it is very right. But yeah, eventually, like, Nandor and Guillermo get into it. Like, Nandor is that little shit is fast or something. They're like throwing knives at each other and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, because and it gets pretty dramatic because Guillermo says, "You're only alive because I let you live, Master." And
right,
Nandor's
I'm
like,
a vampire.
Excuse me.
Yeah. But then, like, Nandor, and we don't know if this is true or not, but I guess you could take it at face value. But he says he was only, like, now he feels he's proved himself, and he's like, I will take you to the River Tigris back in Al-Khaladar or wherever, and I will make you a vampire in my ancestral home. And so now Guillermo's like, oh, really? So now they're going to go together. Who knows if it's really true, but that's the...
I mean, that sounded pretty legitimate.
Yeah. Say, my word is my bond.
And so then he needs to see Nadia and Laszlo off to London.
Well, yes, we didn't. Once Nadia tells Laszlo that the reason she's going to go to London, or she wants to go to London, he's like, "All right, I'm on board." so the whole vow just went right out the window. But Guillermo's going to see them off, and then he'll join Nandor, and they at the bus station or the train station or whatever. It's a train
station. They're taking the midnight train.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, so he's going to see them off. He gets Nadia all tucked away with Dahl.
Dahl, yes, Dahl.
Proceeds to go and see that Laszlo has a bunch of Guillén and Oreos into the coffin. He's like, "What are you bringing those for?" And he says that he could use them to barter
sell
with.
them.
Yeah,
where I'm from.
Yeah, it's just pretty funny because this is obviously Laszlo's plan all along, and it still means that like they have no idea what humans eat. That he gave them Pedialyte for like a long boat journey,
like raw chicken,
right?
Before,
I mean, Pedialyte and Oreos is.
Yeah, it's not. I guess you can live on it.
So at this point, he shoves Guillermo into the coffin and hammers it closed.
Nails it all shut, like all quick, super fast vampire style.
Yeah,
and tells him to take care of and protect Nadia.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that was I was shocked.
Yeah,
like, he's like, all right,
big twist.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, what's he doing? So
it's like
it was weird.
It's like in comic books. Remember when like people used to leave Daredevil and then they would be like the next writer would have to pick up wherever they left off. Like, right. He was like in prison, or he was, dead, or he was like the head of their hands. Like every time they would like leave him and like with this big huge thing that the next writer would have to figure out. Like this one is like a big, like, whoa, what's gonna happen next season now? This is crazy.
Well, I'll tell you, like when he came back up from the basement, and they were kind of going off. Also, I have to comment that Laszlo's outfit for like when they were getting ready to leave was pretty fantastic. He looked great.
Yeah,
the hat and the long coat,
like leather jacket or whatever. It was great. Yeah, it was suave. We should also point out he wanted to bring the cursed hat. And you're not bringing that.
That was like the second witch hat, or maybe even the third drop this season, because it's like come up a couple of times.
Yeah, it has sort of made little cameos. But yeah, there was a moment where like Laszlo completely changed.
I kind of was like, I'm like, oh, he's not gonna go, but why will be determined. Right. And I didn't see him throwing Guillermo in there to protect her, and so we were, and obviously this sets up for a lot of different kinds of conflicts. Nadia is probably the most volatile towards Guillermo.
Right, so the two of them together.
Right.
In London.
Like he was London. Like, even like, yeah, I'm not going to miss that. Like,
yeah,
right.
Under his breath to her, but then she was kind of like getting packed up into the coffin with the doll, and he's like, look, I put all of RuPaul's Drag Race on this, tablet or whatever for you. And she's like, thanks, Guillermo. Or thanks, Gizmo. It's been nice. She's trying to be nice, but she can't be.
Yeah, that's about as nice as she can get to him. Yeah, but it's really funny because they are kind of setting it up like, okay, I mean, like they do a good job saying like we're never going to see each other again, probably. Like this is the end.
Yeah,
like this is it.
I mean, any other show, it's like he would have gone off with Nandor, they would have gone off, and that's how you would have ended the series.
Yeah,
and part of me wonders if they were setting it up that way just in case.
Writing it that way, yeah. Wow.
And
I mean, had I not known that they already did, yeah, like I was seriously thinking that. Like if I didn't know already that they were doing a fourth season, I might have thought that this was the end of the show. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
and but I am wondering if there's a alternative version, just in case it hadn't gotten renewed.
Yeah, I wonder.
They should do
But-
flu endings to all of these. Film 4 different ones.
Yes, yes, absolutely. They should. But yeah, then you have the sad shot of Nandor getting on the train by himself, and that's kind of where we're left. Well, not fully. That's not fully where we're left, because then we have Laszlo returning to
But
the
also,
home.
okay, before we get to that very important thing, was anybody else scared for Nandor not being able to protect himself? Like, what happens if he gets stuck on that train and can't, like, get into a coffin or something? You know,
Well, he's got his
it's a midnight
Jansport.
train. He does.
Right, he's got his.
He can sleep wherever, I guess. But
Got his,
doesn't he still need to be like in a crypt or something?
No, he needs his ancestral dirt, which is this is also set up, you know, in the Atlantic City episode.
Yeah, where they vacuumed it when Colin Robinson was watching the hotel ad.
Yep.
Right. I don't think they need necessarily a coffin. I think that's just more like a bed. I think but they need to sleep, you know, like with their ancestral dirt. Now, obviously, they can't be out in the sun. So, yeah, I don't know.
If he's on a sleeper train, like if he's on a train with like private rooms or anything.
Yeah.
It looked like he just had a GA seat. That's the kind of train he was taking.
It did, but
and
you know,
it looked like, and he also just left Guillermo's fucking bag there. I wonder what was in there. It was probably like fucking like vampire steaks or something, you know? Like, I wonder what was in there.
I know. I wonder. I mean, he is on his own. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He doesn't. It'll be interesting, I guess, to see, right? Like, what he hasn't really been on his own. You know what I mean?
So, and then of course the reveal, which I also sort of foresaw coming. I will say, so the last episode was quite shocking, I believe, to most people.
Quite.
Yes. With the casting of Colin Robinson and then Nandor collapsing in his head.
Yeah.
But it was that wasn't really like he did anything, though. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do it on. We didn't like squish.
No, he didn't do it on purpose, but it was still like it was shocking. They were like, oh, you think that he's just in because they spent the entire episode leaning into that super sleep.
Yes.
Concept and how they look dead. You know, they leaned so heavily into that, and then you get this.
He said he fooled us 5 times before with this fake dying thing. He said something like that. I won't forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
But once the head got squished in, you were pretty much sure.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, this is different.
He's not faking this thing. This is.
But I had, after the initial oh God. After that wore off, I started thinking about it more. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's going to be something. There's going to be either that was actually another one of those clones and he had just been.
Exactly.
Fuck.
This is what I was saying at the end of the last. I was like, some sort of vampire magic, some sort of thing where he's going to be reborn is going to happen. Here it is. But hey.
Well, yeah. So Laszlo goes back to the house and he's writing. I love it's really done so well. The voiceover with the letter to Nadia, like that he wrote and put it in. I assume put it in the coffin and or that I think they say it, but he explains the whole thing. Like I said earlier, like the reason he got thrown out of the Sherwood Society was because they didn't like her, and he thought she needed protection, and clearly she doesn't need it anymore. And if she ever did, it's just really moving, like nice. Like this is not what this show was like.
Sweet and my wife and I were discussing this today, and she was talking about how angry she was at Laszlo for ditching her. And I was like, well, but I mean, like, he had to deal with this, and obviously he cares a great deal for her, and that's why he was like, no, I'm going to send Guillermo to protect her,
because he's the best protector. He's
That's
like
what he
even
says. You're
fucking
right.
over his friend Nandor by stealing Guillermo and giving him to his wife in a way, you know?
Yeah, but she's more important to him than Nandor is.
That's
And I
what I
don't
mean,
think
but
he
she's
knew. He
still-
probably didn't know what was going on with Nandor, right? He didn't know Nandor was going off, did he? I don't know. They never really
He
mentioned it.
said
They never had.
Well, Nandor said he was going to take a trip and he was going to get this groove back. Oh, but that's when those two were fucking. So I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know if he.
Maybe
I don't
didn't
know.
hear that.
But either way, I don't think it matters because it's more important. And to him, he is taking care of something else, which is the like alien sort of takeoff. So Colin Robinson.
So we get flashback to the scene earlier where Laszlo goes down to say his goodbyes, essentially.
Yes.
He's been kind of avoiding doing, and he goes in and he smells something and he goes, "What the fuck?" And so he rips down the sheet that's covering Colin Robinson's body, which we see lapsed in head again. But we also see that his stomach has burst open, and there's a trail of slime
That's so gross.
that Laszlo follows to a very ominously lit room,
right,
that contains a small baby crying. And once the camera focuses in, we see that it has the adult head of Colin Robinson.
and it's holding the glass.
It has glasses like in his hand. Yeah, it's like playing with the glasses.
Oh, it's so funny. I mean, like climbed out of the stomach. I love Laszlo's like, what is this shit? Like he's like following the trail. And it's really like, I mean, obviously, we expected some kind of, like you said, vampire magic to bring back Colin Robinson. This was not what I had pictured.
No, not at all. And you
Great.
hit the nail on the head with the alien thing, totally. And also just like whatever fucking body horror, fucking gross shit. It's disgusting. Gross.
Yeah, it's very David Cronenberg, you know. But yeah, so here we are with this strange setup for next season, and yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You guys watched halfway through the credit. You watched through the credits.
Yeah, there's a funny little moment where Laszlo is hanging the portrait, and then
but he's
like
flying, so he's like hanging it on the wall, but he's flying, which was funny.
But like, and then we see like an older Colin Robinson baby, like
it's slightly like older, a baby Groot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Faster growing.
Yeah. So, and it just screams.
But with
it's just really fun.
That Colin Robinson too has like an old school like fucking like baby bonnet on, like from the 1920s or something, you know, like you see like baby Herman, like, you know, like weird.
It's crazy,
creepy. Adds to the creepiness.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Well, it's creepy, but it's also like hilarious because that's probably all he. I don't know if that's what Laszlo had lying around or something. Here you go. Here you go, chap.
But also, I remember that last season, even when Sam was on the shows, Sam, you said something about how you thought they were going to get into Colin Robinson's backstory this season, and you, my friend, were right.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's very interesting. Like when you think about just but like now, like this is how a season finale kind of should go, right? Like all the characters, not all of them, I mean, but they're kind of scattered around, and like they're all, each one kind of had their own little cliffhanger, you know what I mean? Like we don't really know what's gonna happen. It's great. It's different for this show. So
yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like I think you're right. Like there were a couple like lows this season. I don't remember which one. There was one I watched. I was like, I don't remember. I think it was was it the siren? Yeah. Like
I thought the siren was really funny. The siren's going on. during the doll episode.
Yes, that's right.
But it ended on the season ended on a really high note. So, I mean, it's kind of like all is forgiven because.
And a complex note, as I think you are saying.
Indeed.
Like, very complicated relationship stuff going on with these guys. And why do we only get, why is it so short? I mean, I know there was a pandemic, but, it doesn't seem like they give us enough.
I mean, it was 10 episodes.
Yeah, I think 10 is usually pretty standard for their seasons, right?
22.
22?
Yeah,
I don't think any show does that anymore, do they?
Seasons of, the DC superhero stuff, they do 22.
All right.
20.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just get bummed out. Well, it's so good, so, I mean, it's worth the wait.
You just want more. I get it.
I just want more. That's all. I don't want it to be less quality and have there be more lows.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
They told a great story this season. It was different, and I liked all the callbacks, and they brought people back. And how they had this time when they went to the casino, it wasn't about Ocean's 11. It was about Ocean's
12,
13 or something.
I didn't do I've never seen any of those Ocean's movies, so I don't even know.
Well, I mean, what was it? They go over for the superb apple. He shows them his Ocean's 12 collection.
Yeah, his whole thing. He's got
his whole
room.
collection was just Ocean's 12. It was better because he liked it better than Ocean's 11.
Didn't even make a joke about that. What was it? What was the one that was like the all-female Ocean's movie or whatever? Was it like 9?
Ocean's 9 or 8.
Yeah. Right. And
it was not the worst movie I've ever seen, but
I never saw it. Yeah, but it's I love that of all the movies they could pick for him to be obsessed with. But yeah, I mean, it's great, things. There was some great highlights this season. There was no Mark Hamill, which I was really surprised at, and I was hoping we'd see him again.
There was no Mark Hamill.
Yeah, but for the most part, there were, like you said, a couple. The lows were a little bit low, but the highs were very high. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. The wellness center was brilliant.
See, I mean, I think some of I was looking at the list, and it's the lowest points in it. Like for me, I don't know. It was ones like the wellness center and the casino episode. Honestly, those were the 2 episodes that I think that I was just kind of okay. Because it wasn't you didn't really. A lot of the jokes were just they were just a little too. They didn't hit quite as hard as some of the other ones did, and I think that the escape, which was the eldest the sire escaping, and then the siren episode. I loved the siren episode just because. I love how it starts, and it's just the dudes, it's more of that Colin Robinson Laszlo thing.
Yeah, no, I did like that part.
Worked really well over the course of the season, and then I love him going to Best Buy. I thought that.
I forgot that was that episode. I did like that. That was a great bit.
He's going to get noise canceling headphones,
But
he
completely forgets why he's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Guillermo has to return everything.
Yeah, they forgot that he was doing it for Colin Robinson.
He's like, I've been in transit once by Judy at Best Buys.
Yep.
You will not try to sell me your warranty. Yeah, that was good. Going all the way back, the Cloak of Duplication was definitely a highlight where they all where Nandor technically impersonated them.
Yeah.
Or kayvan, with that, that was brilliant. I thought he's doing their impressions, but I thought that was good. I don't know, for the most part, yeah. I mean, I can't wait for the next season. So that's what it's all about.
So do we have any predictions for how this is going to go?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I have predictions. I hope for at least a few episodes, they kind of have them off doing their own things, kind of like,
Yeah,
you know,
I want to
like
see that. I
cartoons.
actually want to see Guillermo and Nadia in London. You know, like that would be cool.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to have like I think we're going to end up with a Guillermo, Nadia, and Doll like caddy trio where they're like best friends.
That would be,
And-
yeah, we can't forget the doll. Absolutely.
And then we're going to have Nandor who's off finding himself. Either going to go swimmingly or it's going to go horribly.
Well, I
And he's going
figure
to-
also, yeah, like Nandor, even though I was like, oh, I'm worried about him being on that train, I'm not worried about his vampire instincts to be able to find a place to sleep, you know? Like, just, like, he's been alive for hundreds of years.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be okay
Yes,
with that. But
but-
is he going to find like true love or whatever? You know what I mean? Like all the stuff he's looking for. Right? That would be, that's the fun part, you know?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a very gullible individual.
Right.
So that's like where the worrisome part comes. But then you never know that he doesn't just sort of like find his way to London,
Oh.
or or Guillermo leaves London. Because I mean, once he's in London, it's like he'll be able to fly wherever, and it may end up being even Guillermo trying to find Nandor, because it's not like Nandor has a cell phone.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure eventually they'll all end up back on Staten Island together, but I hope they carry it out for a little while.
And I mean, I'm hoping that we're going to get essentially a full season of a CGI'd Colin Robinson head on a child body, because that's just going to get weirder and weirder, and
Yeah,
cause.
right.
Or if he's just grown up by the time we see him next, but he's like as if you took data and you like reset all of his memories, and he's just an annoying energy vampire named Colin Robinson who used to have a relationship with these people, but he's like brand new and he's still being an energy vampire,
But then do you also wonder that if him being raised by Laszlo will change his personality at all?
I mean, I can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's like the thing. Like,
and then you get
a
a reinvented. Well, I've been trying to figure this out because they've set it up where it's like he has a grandma, so
right.
they've established that.
And he
So
talks about his parents too.
That's right, he does.
He talks about his parents like being alive in the 20s or something, and his dad was like, they were kind of like making it like his dad was like a drag queen or something. Like they like were really like just dropping like these weird random clues, and maybe none of them are real, but who knows?
Right.
But yeah, the grandma was funny from last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know that he has a lineage. So this may be the first time that he has, reincarnated himself in this.
Yeah.
manner.
Or at least that he remembers, right? I mean, like maybe that
Yeah.
he knows.
Well, no, because I mean, if his parents were,
Oh yeah.
but then again, you could also have a situation where he's like, well, he talks about it with and now that I'm saying this out loud, it makes a lot more sense. He talks about it when he's talking about The Office, and how he's not hired, but he just kind of nests in there. And eventually they just like accept him as working there.
Yeah,
Right.
they pay him
And
and
I'm
everything.
wondering if it's a certain of a similar situation with being a baby, and essentially just latching onto a family and being that, you know what I mean, and then being a child and being the energy
Wow.
vampire, sucking the energy out of the parents. And that's who he was referring to, and that's even who the grandmother is. And that it wasn't necessarily a blood relation,
Right,
but
right. It's the other
an adoptive
generation
relationship.
before. Right, right.
Oh,
Whoa,
we should be
mind
writing for this show.
Well, I was
We
also
clearly
thinking,
thought of everything.
I was thinking, I think I said last week too, that maybe it's like just like the regeneration, like the Doctor Who. Like Doctor Who is has the same memories and everything when they wake up in a new body. Like, so is it just the same Colin Robinson, or is it like a baby Colin Robinson when he said my tummy's been acting up a little bit? I'm gonna 23 skidoo on out of here, take a nap. But yeah, is it gonna remember, or is it gonna be blank slate?
I don't know. What would be funnier, I guess, right? Like,
I think him having all his memories and still being Colin Robinson, but having the body of a child would be the funniest.
That would be really funny.
Because then you have these situations where it's like Laszlo like walking in public with this child, and the child's just saying weird shit to people.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of like if you introduce a child to a show like this, it's like the Addams Family or the Munsters. There's like a kid mixed in with the crazy house of weird monsters.
I think either way, it's going to be funny, because I would also think it's funny if Laszlo is trying to teach this kid, like how to be, like, or just trying to like help it, like, or whatever age Colin Robinson is. But if it's like a blank slate and Laszlo's trying to explain things to him, like, I think that would also be very funny. So
yeah,
can't lose, really.
That's true.
But I was very happy with how this, like I said, like, it's funny, like I said, like, they never really were this deep. Like, the characters were very surface, and it was hilarious. But like, it's fun to see like layers, you know?
Yeah. I had been a little worried the entire season that we were going to essentially lose Matt Berry, because the first couple episodes he seems very sort of phoning it in. I think that was what kind of bummed me out the first couple episodes. I was like, oh man. And I don't know if it was like he just didn't feel good that day or something, but like he just like he didn't feel in it in those first couple episodes, and then eventually, you know, came back around, and because his energy level in season 1 and 2 is like amazing, you know.
I was thinking something similar to what you're saying, Sam. Like that he was maybe in this episode, I noticed it, like he's acting a little bit more casual, like laid back. He has like a different personality, and I think some of that is intentional.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, because he kind of is bummed that Colin Robinson is gone and whatever. It seems like, or maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. So that is very good.
Everybody on this show is gonna get like so much attention. Like they're gonna take like the taika path, and they'll be like movie stars.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, if they want to. I mean, Laszlo is my favorite character, so I hope he doesn't go anywhere. But they're all excellent. So
yeah.
But yeah.
How long do you think they could do this show? Like, I don't know. I hope forever, but like, you know, how
I don't know. I mean, when
can you possibly do it? How long do shows last now? Even good ones, like.
I mean, sometimes.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. How long was The Office on?
Forever, like too long. I kind of think, right? I mean, I guess there's only so long you can do vampires who don't age.
I think we have at least 2 more seasons.
I think I'd be fine.
No, I hope for more, but I'm just like wondering, like, what's the kind of average for a show that's this good and very well received? Like, I mean,
these days I mean, we're just lucky that it's on television and not a streaming service. Because if it was on a streaming service, then we would only get You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's on FX. Yeah.
It's on FX, and FX wants you to be watching their show, whether or not I mean, even if it's their content on Hulu, it's still like a broadcast show. So you're looking at a different situation. Whereas like Netflix and Amazon will go 2, maybe 3 seasons, and then it doesn't matter how many people love it.
Right.
It's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point because it's about ad money, you know what I mean, and ratings and stuff like that when you're on broadcast or even cable, TV. So as long as it's bringing in ad revenue, they'll keep it going unless the creators just decide, you know what, I think we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wholeheartedly excited about everything that's coming down the way. I mean, Taika Waititi is apparently still talking about doing a werewolf movie.
Good. We're asking Evan, our friend Evan came on the show. We're asking him about that because he's watching the Wellington Paranormal show, and we watched an episode, and it was quite delightful the other day. Quite good.
Very good.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. It was. I thought it was decent, but I couldn't get that heavily into it. The the werewolves. I anything if Taika Waititi is heading it up, I'm totally into it. But he's also doing a pirate show for HBO Max.
Oh yeah, I saw something about that.
Pirates.
So.
Which I mean, it's going to be like a pirate comedy, and I'm sure that's going to be unbelievably funny.
Yeah, anything he does, I'm in for. So
probably R-rated.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. I mean, it's got to just be like, filthy Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just going to be
R-rated.
Sounds. Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Good job, Clay. All right, maybe on that note, before we should wrap it up.
Don't let him say anything else.
No, I know. Yeah, no. I just thought that was a good note. Thanks for listening, everybody. Obviously, check out all of our episodes on leaguepodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out Monsters Are Good, right? Right, Sam?
Yes, monstersaregood.com.
Monstersaregood.com. I know you had a busy, October, so I hope you still got some stuff left over there. But thanks for coming on. It was great to talk to you again.
You too, guys.
I'm glad we got it in.
Yeah, and are we gonna do 1, 2, 3 bats or what's
it's usually 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you ready? Here we go.
Yeah, you count it
3.
down.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Bat. That didn't work great, but that's all right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you later.
And I'm going to go to bed soon. It's nearly sunrise. So, yes. It's one of the hardest guitar pieces in the world to play. Queen. It's one of the hardest guitar pieces in the world to play.